Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom. And in this video, we're going to talk about probably the darkest film I'm going to do, possibly in the history of this channel, but definitely this Halloween. So this is Lady in White. This is a film that came out and bombed in 1988. It's the closest thing to a horror film that I ever enjoyed watching. Now, this is not for little kids. Forever warning, this is not a campy, happy film. I covered a bunch of Hocus Pocus and Casper and Halloween Town. These are all good family films. This is not. This is a supernatural mystery film. It's close to horror. So there's some not child-appropriate film elements in this film. It's definitely suspense. So depending on the level of maturity and interest, probably high school, maybe middle school, no younger than maybe 10, but that would be my bare minimum. Just because there's some heavy subjects in here, including child murder, and there's implied child molestation in this film. So that's another warning. Nothing's ever shown. It's very much implied. So I remember bits and pieces of this film, so I'm going to be looking a little bit on Wikipedia for this film. So pardon me if I'm looking at a few things. So the basic story, and that's I remember, is it takes place around Halloween, which is the reason I'm covering it Halloween, in 1962. Young boy, he gets tricked and locked in a classroom coat room where he witnesses a ghost of a little girl being murdered. And then someone comes in and starts looking for something, a real person, and then sees Frankie and strangles him. And then Frankie's in basically being strangled and he's almost passed out. He sees sees the girl again, and she asks for his help to find her mother. He wakes up, his father's revives him, and he ends up in the hospital, and the janitor is arrested because he's found drunk, and they decided to arrest him because they think he did it. It's not. He's recovering at home. His brother finds an article about a child serial killer. Now, their dad's a cop, and he was involved in this, and they suspect that the little girl that he saw is a little girl by the name of Melissa Ann Montgomery. And so Frankie wants to figure out what happened to her, what really happened to her, because she asked for his help trying to find her mother. And she continues to appear to him. So it's like, look, I found another little boy just my age, and they become friends. So he's become friends with a ghost here. And he's trying to help her and figure out what happened. And occasionally with the help of his brother, he figures out, say, the ring was a high school ring. His father had a similar one. So all of a sudden things start clicking into place and he figures something out. The murderer, who was probably molesting Melissa Ann, was a friend of his father's, and that's who tried to kill him. Because he basically, when he killed her, he lost his ring. And I think the person they put in prison for it had gotten out. So he's suddenly desperate because this case has been reopened. So I think the guy's name is Donnie, or yeah, Donald. And they realize that Frankie's figure out what's going on. They want to kill him. So they believe that, I remember them chasing him through the woods. But he's saved by Melissa's grandmother. So, and again, Willie, the guy who's failed to be indicted because there's no evidence. So, and apparently they thought he was a child murderer as well. So, and then he's killed. So, that's the other thing that's going on. So you have this guy. So again, the actual murderer realizes the case is still open, and Frankie's slowly figuring out what the heck is going on. Now he's, after being chased, because this is his father's best friend, he sees the ring. He figures it out that this is the guy who tried to kill him. and this is a guy who was killing children. So he is helped at Melissa's old cottage because he basically, I think he's strangled. No, the guy's name is Phil. Phil is struck from behind because the kid is running, and he's struck from behind, and because he's strangling Frankie again because he chases him through the woods because he had been out with him doing archery. Because again, this guy was his probably almost like a godfather to Frankie and was his father's best friend. But Frankie figures out who he is. He realizes that. Frankie runs away, and he's helped by this woman by the name of I believe Amanda Harper. So she saves his life. She was Melissa's grandmother, and both her daughter, she was a music teacher. I think that's what her mother did as well. She was a piano teacher, and the daughter's thrown off a cliff and dies. Mother hears her daughter screaming, runs outside, sees her daughter's body, and jumps. And their spirits are separated. They can't find each other. So this woman, she tries to kill herself because she's lost her granddaughter and her daughter. Eventually she's let out of the nut house. And so she's back at the house. She saves, she's not the grandmother. She's Melissa's aunt. She's been living in the cottage since the deaths of her sister and her niece. And eventually Phil wakes up. So she looks like the grandmother. She's older. She's the actress who played the mother in Who's the Boss. So that's probably why I think she thought of her as the grandmother. So Phil attacks. He kills Amanda, saying that he sets the house on fire because she's using a bunch of candles for some reason. It's the 60s. And let's see. It looks like he pulls Frankie from the burning cottage and attempts to throw him over a cliff because of course he does. Frankie drops to the ground. He wakes up, which essentially is what Melissa did, but she screamed and she ended up dying. He gets to the ground, and the ghostly lady in white suddenly appears and frightens Phil off the cliff. And then Melissa comes out of the house. Mother and daughter are reunited, and the ghosts live happily ever after. And Frankie crawls away. Phil tries to grab his ankle, but Frankie's father and brother show up, and the police arrive, and they save Frankie. And I think Phil essentially commits suicide when he realizes everybody knows what the heck he did, and therefore drops over the cliff to his death. So again, this is kind of dark, but this is the closest thing to a horror film I will ever watch. And I remember this from my childhood. For some reason, it must have shown on TV. I don't know why on earth I would have watched it. I was not a good sleeper as a kid, so I would wake up in the middle of the night and watch television. So that's probably how I ended up seeing this. But I remember it from my childhood, and I went looking for it. It's a very interesting kind of suspense film that has supernatural elements. So if you're looking for something darker, particularly for older kids, I don't know if before doing this, I probably should check to see if it's still available. Let's see. You can watch it. It does still show on TV. I'm going to do a quick check on Amazon to see if it's still being sold. So I'm going to do a quick check in here. See if you can. I know you can watch it if you have Amazon. See if I can find the actual. Yeah. The DVD does in fact exist. So it is on Blu-ray because apparently why it tanked in the box office, it became a cult classic. It's one of those films that do that. So again, this is not really the little kids. If you're looking for something maybe your older kids haven't seen before, and it's very Halloween-y in the sense that it's dark and it's mystery, and it has a few jump scares, but again, they're a little girl ghost, so it's kind of weird. And I think the aunt does minor jump scares, but again, it serves a purpose, and it's in a mystery. So the story slowly unfolds through the kids seeing different things. The brother Gino's he also finds out what the heck's going on because he's going through he finds his father's ring and realizes that's what his brother had found in the coat closet. That's how the brother puts it together. and he goes looking. It's like, oh crap. Basically, my dad's best friend is a child murderer. So, and he alerts his father and explains what's going on. And that's kind of how they find out. And the police end up showing up because they go looking for the little brother. It's like, oh crap, we sent him off with a child murderer. It's not a good thing. But it's a very interesting supernatural mystery is really kind of, it's not so much horror. It's very much a supernatural mystery film. And I can pull up to see who starred in it. So let's pull up the stars. So the kid who plays Frankie is Lucas Haas, who looks like he's still doing quite a bit. Catherine Hellman is the aunt. So, and then let's see who, the little girl doesn't look like she's playing anymore. Let's see. There's not much. Yeah, let me look at the little girl, see if she's still acting. It's doubtful because her IMDb page, yeah, doesn't look like she's, I think she only, looks like she only did this film in 88, and then last thing what she did was in the 90s. So, yeah, so she's not really active anymore. And the mother, I am not seeing here. But again, it's a good film. It's good for if you want something again for the older kids. The last three things I did was fun films for the whole family. This is definitely if you want to bond with kind of your late middle schooler, your high schooler. So this is definitely, you want to show them something they haven't seen before, or you enjoy this kind of thing, even different times of the year, looking at this type of supernatural mystery. It's something good to watch if you want to bond, do a movie night with your teenagers, or with even your middle schoolers, depending on how they are. Because it's not gruesome at all. It's the subject matter because there are these child murders. You do see the little girl ghost strangled, and the boy is periodically strangled a couple times in this film, and people are hit over the head. There's no blood at all in this film. So it's definitely more suspense. There's no blood and gore in this, otherwise I wouldn't like it. So, and again, you do see distance films of a little girl ghost on the basically the bottom of a cliff, and I don't think they really show, it's not in detail, it's you're staring down the cliff, so the shot is from thousands of feet in the air, or hundreds of feet, I can't remember, but you don't see detail. So that's what this film is good for. It's definitely on the darker side. It's a horror mystery thing. It very much unfolds slowly. You kind of have to, it's something that you would enjoy if you like this kind of things. Again, it was done in 88, so I probably would have seen it on television, probably in the middle of the night, because I just did not sleep well. I watched a lot of Nick at Night as a child. I was weird. Still probably am. But that's what this film is good for. It's good for the kind of the teens and something to watch after the little kids have gone to bed, or if you just want to bond with your teens. So that is it for this review, and I believe this is the last film I'm doing for Halloween, so it should come out right before Halloween. So have a good Halloween, and if you like this review, check out the rest of my reviews. I'm doing some Native American stuff over November, some secular, non-religious, fun Christmas stuff in December. I should be finishing up my reviews on Harry Potter, which I already filmed, are covering September through October, so those will all be completely done, I think, possibly by now, if not right around now. I also do a bunch of other book reviews, mainly focusing on children education stuff, a sprinkling of homeschooling stuff, and some kids travel reviews. So that's what I have up right now. I'm planning to do a bunch more. Check out my channel if you like what you see. So like and subscribe. You can see what's coming up and what I've already got. Thank you.